Monster Hunter is a truly magical franchise. The very first game was released all the way back in 2004 on the PlayStation 2, published by Capcom. 17 years later, many hunters have joined the journey to fight against over 5 generations of ferocious monsters, ranging from those who roam the land, sky, and sea. Even monsters who are only mentioned of in folklore and legends. With the PC version and Sunbreak coming soon for the latest entry in the series, Monster Hunter Rise, another fleet of hunters will soon arrive to join us all on this wondrous journey. Hello, and my name's Yobri. This video is being made because I love this series oh so much, and it has brought me great experiences in my life. I am here today to present an interesting idea I have for my fellow hunters who seek a worthy challenge. I am probably not the only one who has thought of something like this, and I sure as heck ain't the first. As mentioned before, the series started back in 2004 on the PlayStation 2 and has since drastically changed over the course of 17 years at the time I make this video. Monster Hunter was a very different game back then. And with the success of Monster Hunter World, I am sure that not many hunters know just exactly how different things were back then. Even I did not know, since I too started my journey with World. Thanks to Generations Ultimate, I have experienced what the old style was like though. However, Monster Hunter on the PlayStation 2 was an entirely different beast altogether. I have not played the game for myself, but I have seen a playthrough of it. And even I can tell that it is quite a special game. The series built a foundation for itself back in 2004, and it has grown so much ever since. Today, I'm going to present to you a challenge for Monster Hunter Rise, but any other Monster Hunter game will also work. I like to call this the Monster Hunter 1 Hunting Style Challenge. A few disclaimers though before we start. These rules have been written before the release of Sunbreak. This challenge assumes you have at least beaten Valstrax, meaning you have reached Hunter Rank 100. If, by the time you watch this video, are attempting this with Sunbreak, then beat whatever the absolute final monster is after all potential title updates have been rolled out. This challenge also assumes you have made the necessary preparations for your attempt. For example, you have made the specific weapons and armor pieces beforehand that you will be using. This challenge is made with veterans and newcomers in mind. It was also made for those who don't want to grind again and just want to get to the action. I believe I have noted down all the rules that will recreate the classic Monster Hunter experience. Feel free to tailor these rules however you like for your own challenge experience. Change some of them or add even more. I think I've gone long enough now, so let's get right down to the meat of this video. The rules of this challenge are also posted in the description down below, so feel free to read along. Starting off with rule number 1, you play the game as if it were Monster Hunter 1 on the PS2. Excluding of course the odd design choice of mapping attacks to the right analog stick. Number 2, the goal is to slay every high rank version of all the monsters in the hub quests. Master rank version if attempting to do this in Sunbreak. Also, capturing is technically allowed, but personally, I like slaying better. Number 3. Always start at Camp 1 in every map. For Monster Hunter Rise in particular, it doesn't really matter since you always start at Camp 1 anyway. But if you're, for example, attempting this with Monster Hunter World, or maybe in the future, another Monster Hunter game, things might be different otherwise. Number 4. Use of the fast travel is prohibited. Number 5. Event quests do not count. The only event quest that does count, however, is Ibushi's event quest, because the only way you can fight Ibushi solo without Rampage is that specific event quest, so make sure you download it. Number 6. Rampage quests do not count. 7. Optional subquests and villager requests are not allowed. However, only villager requests that reward you a weapon are an exception. I do not want to restrict weapons to you already from the beginning. I want every weapon to be available for this run, whichever you want to use, meaning also those that you get from the village requests. 8. Play with your chosen weapon's moveset from the very first game it debuted in. So, you better do your homework if you are attempting this challenge. I sure as heck did mine, because I'm going to attempt this as well with the Greatsword. And that game debuted with the PS2 version. And it only had like 3 main attacks back then. Didn't even have a charge. 9. Changing weapons is allowed, but be sure to follow the above moveset rule when changing. So, if you start out for example with Greatsword, but you want to change to, let's say, the Lance, you are allowed to do that, obviously. Number 10. No aerial/slide attacks. Insect Glaive, however, is the only exception to this rule for specifically the aerial attacks. Slide attacks with the Insect Glaive are still forbidden, but aerial attacks are allowed with the Insect Glaive. But, as a side note, do not initiate the aerial attack from a cliff, let's say. You have to vault with the Insect Glaive. Moving on to 11. Mixed armor sets are allowed. 12. There are no armor skill restrictions. 13. No rampage skills allowed. 14. No rampage weapons allowed. 15. No decorations allowed. 16. No talisman charms allowed. 17. Using armor spheres to upgrade is prohibited. So, if you've already made the armor piece, or if you are going to make the armor piece for your run, please make sure that the armor piece is at level 1. 18. No power/armor talismans, or excuse me, no power/armor talons allowed. However, they are allowed in Sunbreak for Master Rank only, since the G rank expansion for Monster Hunter 1, Monster Hunter G, did have talents as well. But they were only available in G rank back then. 19. No Palicos and Palamutes allowed. We didn't have those buddies back then. 20. The Argosy, Meowcenaries, and the Kahoot Nest are prohibited. 21. Use of the Wire Bug is prohibited. That also includes Silkbind moves and the Great Wire Bugs. Number 22. Spirit Burps are allowed. 23. Pedalaces are allowed. 24. Eating at the canteen is allowed. 25. Stay completely still while using and gathering items. So let's say you are drinking a potion. At the start of it, or before you use it, stand completely still. When it comes to gathering, let's say you're picking up herbs, then you must stand completely still before you even pick them up. 26. Use of the radio menu is prohibited. So that means you will only be using the item bar. 27. Use of the tent at any camp is prohibited. 28. No wyvern riding is allowed. However, it does take a while for the monster to get out of that wyvern riding state, so I will allow you to mount it, but you have to immediately bonk the monster against the wall to speed up the waiting process. So that one bonk is allowed, but you have to immediately bonk. And not bonk into another monster as well, if they are in the area. Now then, moving on to some options you can change within your game. For the player silhouette, turn that off. For damage indicators, put that on Don't Display. In the HUD settings, you must turn off target camera icon and large monsters info. In the sheath settings, put that from auto sheath to manual sheath. And for the left bumper plus right joystick controls, put that on no controls. That is the control setting for the radio menu. So if you think you're going to accidentally use it anyway, you can turn it off in the settings. And last but not least, we have some optional rules as well, depending on how you are going to play this challenge or if you want extra difficulty and whatnot. For the first optional rule, you may restrict certain weapons at your own discretion for added difficulty at any point in the challenge, with a few examples being: you may not use weapons of rarity 6 until you have at least beaten any monster that possesses a weapon of rarity 6 in its weapon tree. Another example, only elemental weapons can be used, vice versa for non-elemental. And the last example, rarity 7 is not allowed at all. Tailor this rule to your liking, I would say, because you might be able to do much more with restrictions. And then as a simple follow-up for optional rule number 2, you may do the same with your armor for another layer of difficulty. So let's say you can't use armor of rarity 6 at all, or rarity 7. Optional rule number 3, if you are attempting this from a fresh new save file, then you must only do hub quests. As of writing this, it is unconfirmed whether village quests are mandatory. And as the final rule of this whole challenge, the final optional rule, for the true Monster Hunter 1 experience, you must start from a fresh new save file. In this save file, you must also get rid of everything in your inventory except for the Kimura Sword and Shield before embarking on a quest. Keep buying and selling things in the market until you are unable to buy anything to get rid of your Zenny. Your preferred weapons for the attempt also have to be made from materials and cannot be bought at the smithy. If there are options, of course, where you can buy the weapon instead of making, but only make them. The market is closed off until you have at least beaten one large monster in the 2-star low rank hub quests. The goal stays the same, but you would obviously have to get through low rank to reach high rank, and also reach Hunter rank 100 for Valstrax. That was quite a list of rules I had to go through. I don't know if I've missed any rule or whatever that could have been added to this basic set of rules that I've made for myself and for others. But if you guys have any thoughts about these rules, feel free to comment down below. And share this challenge, of course, with your fellow hunters. If you have been watching for this long, thank you so much for watching. I never really made anything like this video and challenge, but it was quite fun to do so. I love this series ever since I was introduced to it with World, and I would love it if more people were to experience it. Whether you play the games, listen to the soundtrack, find really great artwork of it, or heck, even watch your favorite content creator play the game. I want as many people to experience these games for what they are and what they have to offer. I will be attempting this challenge myself over on twitch.tv/yobri_naps, as it will be an interesting experience and an experiment as well, to see how modern Monster Hunter games would feel like in this style. I only know of one other guy who has done something like this that I found recently while doing homework for this challenge. His name is Reverb Jolt on YouTube, and he has done this with Monster Hunter World, but specifically he tailored his rule set to be in line with Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. However, I am pretty much doing the same, But instead, the game that I'm looking at for my rule set is Monster Hunter 1. But anyway, if you would like to watch me attempt this challenge at any point in time, you can find the link for my Twitch in the description. And hey, maybe I can see you there sometime. And don't worry, I'll be uploading my VODs as well to my YouTube channel in case you can't catch me live. I hope you will take up this challenge for yourself. And to my fellow hunters, happy hunting.